10 years ago, a stunning nurse named Dana joined our hospital. I, a surgeon, was fortunate enough to have her as my operating room nurse. It was around the same time that I had recently divorced my wife of 2 years, with no children involved. Despite Dana's immediate infatuation with me, I strictly adhered to the principle of avoiding romantic involvement with strangers. One night during our shift, Dana and I had a heartfelt conversation, leading her to break down in tears and share her personal struggles. She spoke of the deep love she once had for her husband and their beloved 2-year-old son, but unfortunately, her husband had succumbed to alcoholism. His addiction wreaked havoc in his professional life as a driver, causing constant problems due to his drinking habits. Although he was a wonderful person when sober, his addiction transformed their lives into utter chaos. With no other options or family support, Dina found herself trapped in a difficult situation. Despite everything, she still loved her husband. After this vulnerable conversation, our bond grew stronger, and we eventually became close friends. One evening, Dina called me in distress, informing me that her husband, heavily intoxicated, had kicked her and their son out of their home. It was at that moment I realized this might be my chance to offer them the safety and stability they desperately needed. Without hesitation, I went to pick them up and brought them to my place. This marked the beginning of our life together. A year later, Dina and I decided to marry. I wholeheartedly embraced her son, Artem, as my own, initially being referred to as Uncle, but soon slipping into the role of Daddy. Dina's ex-husband had moved away to work in the north shortly after their divorce, and we never received any updates from him over the years. Our life together was fulfilling and content, though there was always a slight unease in my heart. While I was convinced of my love for Dina, I couldn't help but feel that she only allowed herself to love me to a certain extent. I raised this concern a couple of times, but she dismissed it as my imagination. 4 years into our marriage, we were blessed with the arrival of our daughter, Irina. This brought me immense joy, as I had always dreamt of having a daughter and couldn't help but marvel at her existence. When Rishka turned 3, she had to undergo a medical examination for kindergarten. Thinking I would quickly accompany my daughter to all the required doctors, I took her medical card and settled myself on the first floor, awaiting the arrival of my wife with our daughter. In the meantime, I absent-mindedly flipped through the pages of the document. To my surprise, I noticed something concerning when I came across the section that indicated our daughter's blood type. According to all medical principles, Arishka couldn't be our biological child. My blood type was 1, my wife's was 2, yet our daughter's was 3. It simply didn't add up. Impatiently waiting for my wife, I rushed to take Irina to the laboratory, where we had her blood tested to determine her actual blood type. The visit to the doctors was a blur, as I couldn't stop obsessing over the test results. The following evening, I collected the outcome. Her blood type was indeed the unexpected 3rd type. My mind was clouded with questions, desperate for answers. In a daze, I made my way back home. Upon entering, I found Dinka bustling around in the kitchen. "Hey, where are the kids?" I inquired. With a smile on her face, she cheerfully replied, "They're not here. Your mom took them away for the weekend, leaving us alone." Maintaining silence, I placed the test results of our daughter's blood type on the table. Dinka's expression turned ashen, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I'm so sorry. Please, I didn't mean for any of this to happen." In that moment, Dinka confessed that 4 years ago, Sergei had returned to the city, found her, and expressed a desire to see their son. What unfolded next seemed almost surreal, and she found herself bewildered by the events. For about a month, they continued to meet in secret, but deep down, she couldn't ignore the fact that she still loved her ex, just like before. However, their clandestine encounters came to an abrupt end when their vacation concluded and the alcohol problems persisted. In a drunken haze, he eventually confessed that he had another family up north, a secret he had kept hidden for a long time. A month after he left, Dinka discovered she was pregnant, but the identity of the child's father remained a mystery. It was only when Irina was born that it became clear. She shared the same blood type as the ex-partner. It was a moment of mixed emotions for me. The happiness of becoming a father was overshadowed by the realization of the truth. I couldn't easily forgive Dinka, yet in that moment, the joy superseded everything, causing me to overlook the details in the chart. As I gazed at her, confusion engulfed me. How was I supposed to navigate this complex situation? In essence, I now had 2 children, a daughter and a son. Legally, Sergei also had 2 children, while I was left with a wife who had betrayed me. Adding to the turmoil, Dinka claimed she still loved Sergei, but acknowledged that a future with him was impossible. She expressed gratitude towards me for my support and assistance in her life. The most challenging part was explaining to the children why their mother and I were suddenly parting ways. It felt as though I had aged years within a matter of days. At work, I was appointed as the head of my department, but the weight of my personal situation made it difficult to fully focus. Dinka moved to another clinic, and although I still helped care for the children and spend time with them, the dynamics of our family had drastically changed. Amidst all the turmoil, I found solace in a close relationship with a wonderful woman. However, I am not ready to rush into marriage just yet. While I do not dwell on the past, I deeply appreciate her presence and support in my life.